great atmosphere. On night number 2, the make-up date for the Daihatsu-sponsored V8 Super Sedan Championship. And here is your feature race. And the lineup for you: out of 1, Brad Smith; out of 2, John Leslie. Then we had Ron Pine out of 3, Wayne Randall out of 4, Alan Baker out of 5, Michael G out of 6, Jared Harper out of 7, Jamie McHugh out of 8, Des Corn out of 9, Keithy Sims out of 10. And I might get my co-commentator, guest commentator, to read out 10 to 20.
Wayne Brims out of 11, Bert Bosbergen out of 12, Frankie Cross out of 13, Peter Logue out of 14, 15 sits Robert Carrick, 16 Dave Gartner, 17 Mick Nicola, 18 Barclay Moore, 19 Bernie Roberts, and John Pine in Luke's car out of 20.
Here we go, a big marauding pack of stunning Super Sedans make their way around the racetrack, and Brad Smith, I think he came into this final as the outright favourite. Ronnie Pine, what's happened to Ronnie?
Ron, flat outside right.
Oh, dreadful luck. He would have fancied his chances coming out of position number 3, and he said to me, Dino, I'm an unbackable favourite for the championship.
Yeah, well, and then unfortunately for Ronnie, 1 lap in the feature, and that's it.
That's it, so unbackable. I would have lost me money. I wonder if he would have given me a money-back guarantee with that wager, Darren. I don't know. I don't like my chances.
That's probably a big disadvantage with sedans. They don't stop like sprint cars. They don't have red light stoppages as often. And it's a shame for Ronnie Pine, because without a lap being done then, he probably could have went and put a front right on and got back into the feature. Have a look at the size of the cushion there. Nice close up with the cushion in that turn.
Actually, when I put this footage together, I love this shot because it really showed the cushion. And what is it like? Can you really feel the cushion when you bang that right rear against it on the racetrack?
Sure, yeah, for sure. My car's fairly heavy, but some of these guys in the lighter cars, you'll find them, they'll hit the cushion, the car will rear up onto the back wheels.
Johnny Leslie, guess where he is at the moment? 2nd place. What can he do? In the meantime, Brad Smith, the Tasmanian. Alan Baker, I like where he's running at the moment, in 4th place and looking menacing.
And the biggest problem, though, the cars that seem to be working earlier on don't tend to work as well later on. So you'll find some of the cars that are going backwards in the field, when the track starts to slicken off a bit, they'll probably come on a little bit better. Look at Jamie McHugh as well, sitting in 5th. There's Baker, fires one through on the inside of Randall.
Yeah, Wayne Randall, his car looks a little tight, but maybe in the early going, that's the way to be a little tight, and then as the track slicks off, hopefully the car will dial in setup-wise.
Yeah, for sure. Out in front, though, Brad Smith looking very, very smart. You'll notice now McHugh tries to get on the inside of Randall. Randall sitting in 4th. Baker, he's out of there. He's in 3rd spot now.
Fantastic stuff, Alan Baker. Leading the Blue Oval Brigade here at Parramatta City Raceway, the feature race, the championship final, the Daihatsu-sponsored V8 Super Sedan Championship. And what a race in store. I think it was 40 laps from memory. A heck of a finale. And Brad Smith, that car looks absolutely peachy, can run the cushion with confidence coming out of 2.
See Johnny Leslie getting very, very sideways earlier on already, which doesn't spell a good sign for later on in the race for Leslie.
Yeah, we got a yellow light scenario, and I think it is because of debris on the racetrack. Safety is always uppermost with the nature of the industry and the sport we're in, I guess. Brad Smith, John Leslie, Alan Baker, Randall, McHugh. Looks like Sims further back doing a good job. Can't pick up the number. I'd suggest Keith Sims. He was the strongest of the Sims clan coming into this final. Yeah,
Keith the only one to make it through to the feature. Dennis was first reserve. Unfortunately missed out by a point.
That's a tough deal, particularly when you've supported 2 nights of racing and you first reserve. They've got to run a B main. That's my opinion anyway. They've got to give everyone an opportunity to move forward. That's what makes the Knoxville National special. You can come. In fact, the Chili Bowl Nationals this year, Darren, I don't know if you heard of that. Oh, Johnny Leslie. Trouble with a capital T. Oh, I wonder what they're going to do here. Will they let him restart in position? In fact, they do. So they deem that he mustn't have caused the problem. I don't know how you interpret those sometimes, but there you go. He's back in 2nd place.
It was a little bit of a racing incident. It's pretty hard to tell, but Leslie did keep going, so he could have kept the car running in about 6th or 7th spot, but they did bring the lights on. Was there any need to do it? I really don't know.
I don't think this track's going to get awfully slick, Darren. It's staying pretty hooky and ruddy through turns 3 and 4. In fact, turns 1 and 2 look likely to go slicker way faster than 3 and 4 on this occasion.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit more moisture down in 3 and 4. See Leslie running up a little bit higher on the cushion. Baker really sideways. Back to Randall. There's John Pine. Right. Oh no, it's Michael G actually, way out in the boondocks.
In the nosebleed section. That's where he's at the moment. The rarefied air of the eye line by an absolute mile. Almost could wave hello to the tyre wall, the infamous Parramatta City Raceway tyre wall in 3 and 4. But Brad Smith, that car is still set up to absolute perfection. And it's a credit to him in that little transport car, number 46. In fact, he had to put on an entire new front nose clip on that race car after the Victorian title a week earlier, where it got tore off in a feature race altercation. And apparently in that race he was looking very strong as well. So obviously a bit of a tough run, but looking fantastic at the moment.
Doesn't seem to have affected the car though. It's the car sits very flat. It's a very good race car on the track by the looks of it. But you'll notice there John Pines passed around about 7 or 8 cars. Michael G, because of the stoppage, runs his way to the back of the pack.
Race restart, and Les Light in second place. Can he break through? Can he shake the dreaded monkey off his back of claiming, finally, an Australian V8 Super Sedan Championship? In the meantime, Brad Smith, he's looking fantastic.
Have a look how smooth the car goes through the turn, Dino. It just looks really smart mid-turn. Third spot sits Baker. Keith Sims doing a great job, still sitting in around about 5th spot in the Sims Tilt Tray car 82.
It just shows, yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. There isn't an awful lot of actually Sydney Super Sedan drivers, but it just shows the awesome tradition and heritage that Newcastle had for tin top racing. So many people from the Hunter Valley region still racing in Super Sedans. It just shows the history of the sport is very important in ensuring its future.
Oh, for sure. It's Sydney drivers tend to go mainly to the wings, and in the Hunter Valley area you have so many multiple champions, Lilford, Pine, the 2 Pines, you have Bernie Roberts, Carrick. In the Newcastle area, Super Sedans were huge.
It's certainly still very much revered. A lot of people, I remember questioning the crowd, how many of you are from that region? A lot of people put their hands up. Happy to make the long haul to PCR to catch their beloved Super Sedan strutting their stuff on the Parramatta clay. Talking about strutting their stuff, I like the form of Alan Baker at the moment in that Falcon, looking very, very strong.
Yeah, problems for Gartner, pulls the Speedway Autos car to the infield on the back straight that time. Baker looking very smart on the back of Les Light at the moment. Brad Smith, bye-bye, he's out of there, he's gone.
Gone! In that Stein Earth moving Falcon, Alan Baker. Still, it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass as they go through turns 3 and 4. Alan Baker comfortable running right up on the cushion through turns 3 and 4. Gee, Keith Sims, very impressive in that Monaro. Oh, contact for the reigning Australian champion. I remember Colin Farr, one of our commentators on the night, Darren Cape, of course, for those who weren't aware, was commentating on the night with us. Colin gave him the kiss of death and said that could very much be the end of his championship. Let's see if he was right, mate.
Unbelievable. Peter Lowe just clipped the rear of the current Australian champion.
And they sent him rear of field too.
Yeah, at the moment we see Peter Lowe sitting rear of field for sure.
In fact, same with Mick Nicola. For some reason they sent him to the back of the tree.
Yeah.
And you could almost argue that he probably just was an innocent victim of race contact there. In fact, is that Mick Nicola further forward?
I think it looked like Peter Logue, actually.
Peter Logue, so Peter Logue was allowed to restart in position. Nicola went to the back of the bus.
Sorry about that, folks. We'll get it right sooner or later.
Well done, the Cafe Man. They come out of turn number 4, Brad Smith. Look, I've got to say it, he's looking absolutely dominant here, and if that car can hold together, I think he would win the championship.
Yeah, it's looking very smart. He was out of picture in the last, before the stoppage there with Nicola, and Smith just looking, makes a mistake there as they came out. Oh, problems actually for Smith.
Yeah, now do you remember exactly what happened?
I think it was an axle from memory, but I thought it was a little bit further on than this. Absolute heartache for Brad Smith. The car was, I would have had 100 on him.
He was the class act of the night, no doubt about it. Didn't rub another racer the entire championship. And I know personally, I have the utmost admiration for his driving ability. I know a lot of the Parramatta Sydney fans too, Darren, were thoroughly impressed with the way he drove. He drove with style and class.
Yeah, for sure. And at the moment, you'll notice Les Light, Baker, back to Corn. Then we have, it looks like Randall. Danger coming up. There's Sims and John Pine together, back in 5th and 6th.
And Keith Sims is having a run to remember at the moment. But Alan Baker pressuring for second, but Johnny Les Light, he's got the bit between his teeth. The destiny is totally in his hands at the moment, Darren.
Gee, Baker very sideways coming out of 4. Look at the sideways motion on Baker. That car is really loose, and we've still looked like we still had around about 18 laps left to run.
Looks like a bit of state of origin Super Sedan style at the moment. A couple of Queenslanders, a couple of New South Wales boys. It's all happening here at PCR. Johnny Les Light, yellow light scenario once again. And number of race restarts. Yep, surprise, surprise. It was a very incident-packed featured championship race on the night. You'd remember it well.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing too, when the track goes slick, a little bit different for sedans, because you don't have the downforce that you have with, say, a sprint car or a leader car with a big wing setup. On a slick track, the car is really, really loose. Like, the car wants to turn around on you every single corner.
Yellow light scenario once again. Now, with the sprint car, they talk about getting a lot of drive from the left rear tyre. Speed car racing, they talk about setting up to get a lot of drive from the right rear tyre. Where is the best place in the super sedan? Right rear tyre?
No, I don't know. I just sit there and drive it.
Sit there and drive it.
I think it depends on the track, of course. Some guys, when it starts to slicken up a bit more, they put a lot of weight from the right rear. I leave it mainly to my pit crew. As I said, I'm pretty new to this type of thing, but and I never asked that question when I was a commentator. As much super sedan commentating I've ever done, I've never asked that question. Do you know that's in the logbook?
Okay, good man. Yeah, in the meantime, Johnny Leslie, once again, we saw an altercation with John Pine and Bert Vosbergen. Now, John Pine was sent to the back of the bus, and he was fired up. That is an absolute understatement. He was... Oh. And massive crash for John Pine, speak of the devil, involving Bert Vosberg and his earlier protagonist and Wayne Randall, I believe. Terrible luck for John Pine. That is the biggest super sedan crash I've seen anywhere.
That is huge. And we just saw it as they came onto the main straight. John Pine was on the inside of Randall. You'll notice Randall's left rear is flat. That's Randall, the red, white and blue car. Now, John Pine was on the inside of Randall trying to squeeze up on the inside, and they made contact.
Well, I've got to say there, Darren, that was one of the biggest crashes I've ever seen. Have you seen any nastier than that one involving car number, well, I guess normally car number 91 of Luke Pine, but John Pine, massive crash, as we see Bert Vosbergen's machine towed off track as well. Yeah,
that's very second-hand for Bert. Had nowhere to go, ran into the, looked like the front of Wayne Randall. That was a massive crash from John Pine. So the ambulance people are still working on John, no doubt. Ambers are on.
Yellow light situation. And John Leslie, what would be entering his mind, of course, knowing he's raced for some time, the feeling that I'd love to win this championship?
I think he's a pretty smooth customer. I think he's certainly a racer. A lot of people call him the old man, but he's got more go than a lot of the young guys for sure, but no doubt John wants to win one. Everybody would love to win one, and he's in the vehicle that could probably do it. Look at that, long way back. There's the Australian champion, Mick Nicola.
Well, we started with 20 cars. We're down to about 7 or 8 at the moment. It has been a war of attrition.
Dino, did you hear any news about how John Pine was, actually?
Yeah, important to note that. Actually, good question, mate. Yeah, look, we had a chat to John. He was ensconced in hospital for some considerable time, wearing a neck brace and obviously lying prostrate on his back. He said it was very character building for him. And fundamentally, though, he is A-OK, but obviously he did have some disc injury in his back, and it took some considerable time for it to repair, and it's still a process going on right now. So he did have a cracked vertebra, and pretty serious, but fortunately the medical crew did a great job, and I've got to add kudos to the recovery team, and David Higgins did a fantastic job, a Newcastle boy, and knew how to get that guy out of the car in a proper and safe manner. Yeah,
for sure. I saw John around about a month ago at a 21st party, and he was looking very, very stiff. Still had the neck brace on as well. So hopefully he'll be back.
Yeah, it certainly does. In fact, I think he's saying he was going to retire after this event, but I think the manner of that accident, I think he does definitely want to turn some laps in anger before he finishes up. In the meantime, back focusing on the racing in this championship AMA, Mick Nicola. Darren Cave, my co-commentator, touched on that he started the rear of the field of the restart. Now he's up to 3rd place. The cream surely does rise to the top.
Have a look how good the car's working. You see Baker still majorly sideways, cannot get on the gas as quick as Nicola can. Leslie, he's about in the same boat. These two are not catching or losing each other. Nicola's come from nowhere and now sits in 3rd spot. Make it 2nd. Problems for Baker, it looks like, on the back straight.
In fact, the car was just getting worse and worse in the handling department. Something has broken on that car. No question. Bad luck for Alan Baker.
Car very twitchy. Bernie Roberts getting it all wrong there in turn 4.
Look at some of those ruts and corrugations in turn number 4. The drivers have done well to deal with that part of the racetrack. In the meantime, John Leslie, got to say, even his car is starting to come off. You were touching on it before too, that early on, a lot of these cars may look $1 million, but it's at the money end of it that really matters.
It just depends on who can get on the power the most. Of course, you go faster in a straight line, and if you can get on the gas earlier, of course you're going to be faster down the back.
Absolutely. John Leslight, but look at Mick Nicola, the Victorian, the reigning champion, National Warranty Company, Lucas Oil sponsored Pontiac, an absolute master behind the race wheel, no question.
And we still have Leslight. There's Nicola, doesn't seem to have made up any ground. Baker is lapped, of course, with problems with the yellow car, back to, look like Harper, then back to Wayne Brims, who's come from nowhere.
Absolutely, a great battle here amongst the protagonists that remain on track here at Parramatta City Raceway with the running of the Daihatsu-sponsored V8 Super Sedan Championship. We're getting out to the final laps in this event. It's going to be a tremendous tussle over the closing laps. Johnny Leslight, car number 83. Can he hold on? The Queenslander, well, really a New South Welshman, but races in Queensland primarily these days.
Have a look at Nicola now. We've lost a few of the drivers, only with around about 6 or 7 drivers left on track. As you can see, Leslight very, very touchy, very feathery on the throttle, and Nicola will now have the red mist, no doubt.
The red mist. Alan Baker still trying to finish for credibility as much as anything. His championship claims are gone. But look at Mick Nicola on the high line. Darren Cave touched on it earlier. Look at him. Is this a pass for the championship race lead through turns 3 and 4 up in the marbles? What a daring pass. Mick Nicola, well done. What a move.
And poor John Leslight will be going, oh no, not again. Nicola removed. Now this man has gone rear of field halfway through the feature race. He's now trying to make it back-to-back Australian champions. John Leslight sits in second. We go back to Harper, who will be in third, from Wayne Brims at the moment, back to, I think it's Bernie Roberts, and then back to the 63 car.
It's a championship thoroughly deserved. Again, typically a very clean race car driver. Oh, hooks the cushion big time. Nearly took the steering wheel out of his hands there. Have you had that sensation before?
Yes, I have actually. Tagged the wall at Toowoomba, which hurt big time. But lucky also not to grab a tyre then as they came out onto the cushion. Great drive from Nicola.
Absolutely dominating run from Mick Nicola. Fantastic job.
Wayne Brims finishes in third spot there, and then we go back to Harper. So Harper will finish in fourth. Fifth spot will go to Bernie Roberts, I'd say, at the moment. Looks like they're coming around for around about the last lap. Absolutely.
How about it? First, a back-to-back Australian champion. Mick Nicola first, John Leslight second, Wayne Brims third, Jared Harper fourth, Bernie Roberts in fifth, Tony Barclaymore in sixth place.
See, Mick Nicola absolutely pumping his fists out the window. That is one of the best drives I've seen in an Australian title feature. He was very, very emotional coming out of that race car. And why wouldn't he be? Probably thought midway through that race that his chances were gone. He would have been certainly one of the long shot favourites around about halfway through. No doubt Mick Nicola will be your 2003 Australian Super Sedan champion. Great stuff. Well, Darren, thanks very much for joining me in commentary. Hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for your time, mate. Anytime, my pleasure. Darren Kay from Newcastle, a man that's keen about his Super Sedan racing, in fact, keen about his speedway. Thank you for joining us for the Australian V8 Super Sedan title.